I always say to people, if I go for the second bite, it's good. If it's just one little,
Yeah, there you go.
that's really nice. I could do with a little bit more sugar or some cream, but yeah, that's really nice. There we go. And we set up Pasta Bambino, and we were charging $18 to $22 for a bowl of pasta, $9 for a glass of wine. And I said, fuck it. You know, I'm not going to start pitching for the high end. I'm going to show you that you can actually make $1 by giving people value for money. You can't pick it up and eat, oh, that's shit. You can't do that. That's disrespectful to anyone. Even if I came around to your place and you guys cooked with me, you know, if it was shit, I'd still say it's wonderful.
In the house, a celebrity chef, TV star, radio star, Adrian Richardson. Welcome to the dos&d show.
Woo! It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I've seen the list of ultimate celebrities you've been interviewing, and to be sitting here with you guys, I feel very, very special. Thank you very much.
Well, we've never had someone of the food world really on the show, so this is new, isn't it?
We've been looking forward to it for a very long time. We've always said we would love a chef or a cook or somebody can teach us to ultimately, because I think as we go throughout this podcast, you will learn that unfortunately both of us don't possess any of your skills. But we will go through that as the show goes on. Firstly, tell us everything that's going on in your life at the moment, because your career to date is a long list.
I've done lots and lots of different things, but at the moment I'm focusing on venues. I've got a couple of venues up in Brisbane, so I like spending the time up there. Although it's starting to warm up there now, so it starts to get hot, and it just gets sweaty. I hate the summer up there. I've got a Bouvier, which is my venue in Lygon Street, East Brunswick, and we're just doing some little tweaks to that one. I've had La Luna Bistro for 26 years, and about a month ago, we closed that down after 26 years. I got to the point where it was to sign another lease for another 5 years. Could I do that? I'd flogged that dead horse. There's nothing left of it. It had done really well, and I wanted to end on a high. And we did that, and it's just amazing. And then I've got a venue at Marvel Stadium, the Gallery, and another one down in Geelong, which is the Maestro. So, and a few other bits and pieces.
How many is that? That's
a few. Yeah.
That's a lot to manage.
It is. It is. It seems like a lot to manage, and it is. You've got to have your wits about you. But if you've got the right people. It's about getting the right people around you, and if you've got that and you can communicate and work with them, it's really fun. You can actually do a lot more. But if you're dealing with people who are just giving you a hard time and just trying to do their own thing, well, one, they don't last very long, and two, it just becomes difficult. So it's about the people. Yeah.
Someone said to me once, the quickest way to throw away your money is to open a restaurant, right? So La Luna,
just a nice little cheap shot.
No. This is a positive. So La Luna, 26 years. What makes that stay in business for so long and in demand? What's the difference? Because going up the street that we're on today, they're closing the doors every few months. Restaurants come in, they go out. They come in, they go out. What's the secret to longevity?
Look, I suppose I started that off 26 years ago. I stopped working, couldn't work for people anymore. I mean, the hospitality industry, we'll get into that later on. There's a bunch of assholes in there, but people are hard to work for. So I wanted to do my own thing. So I started the place off, and I just love the industry. I love restaurants. I love people. And it's just a matter of working it, keeping it good. And along those 26 years, we've had GFCs, we've had the gas crisis, we've had COVID. All these things have come up, and we just keep on going. And it's about just focusing on delivering a good product, consistently good, having really good staff and really good service, and being vigilant with making sure you keep on the path, and that's very, very that's the most important thing. If you've got to stay on it, and you've got to be there, and you've got to work at it. It's a business. You've got to work hard at it, and that's the way you keep going.
Now, is it true that the customer's always right? Is that because that's the saying that goes around, isn't it?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Look. Over the years, I mean, you start off thinking that, and over the years, you sort of realise that what. People can be really rude and grumpy, and I've seen all of these things. I've just seen some actual assholes. Just they think that they can come into a restaurant and something's not quite right, so they become abusive. And there's a couple of reasons for it. Maybe they're just hangry, but it's not the place for it, So no, they're not always right. And I've thrown a few of them out. It's like, mate, I don't want your business. I say that the staff are probably the most important thing to me. So that if you piss my staff off, I don't want you. It's a lot harder to get good staff than it is good customers. So, customers I can get, they're always around. But I tell you what, if you start pissing off my staff and I allow you to piss off my staff, well, then I'm not doing anyone a favour. So, piss off the shitty customers and keep the good staff.
Do you have an example, like maybe a story you could share about that? Because that, to me, for listeners, that's really, really interesting.
Oh, look, but where does it start? I mean, I've had people come in. La Luna's on two levels. So we had a Saturday afternoon, had 50 people downstairs. It was a wedding, set tables. You can see they're all dressed up. The tables have flowers on them and it's all set up. And we had the upstairs, we were doing restaurant. The regular restaurant. So we were taking people upstairs, and this guy, come in with his wife, and it's like, no, I want to sit downstairs. Mate, where are you going to fucking sit? It's a restaurant. It's a wedding. What are you going to do? You're dressed in jeans and a t-shirt, first of all. But, and this guy got really upset and pissed off because he wanted to sit downstairs, and we had to work around him. Just... People must be stupid. Read the room, mate.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of thing, and it just goes on and on like that. People. I want to sit over there. Well, that table's booked. You've booked today. Those people have booked 3 weeks ago, and they really want to have that seat because it's their special seat and they're booked. But I want to sit there, and they get all uppity about it.
Yeah.
And they, and they just become threatening and rude, and just there's no place for it. Be nice to people, and people will be nice for you.
100%.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
Well, going back a little bit, did you always have a passion? Where did the passion come from? Are you more of a business person, or are you a lover of food and wine? Where does it all come from?
If I was a smart business person, I reckon I would have been a stockbroker or something. But look. I've always loved food. I come from a big sort of family background of food. Like my mother, she's Italian. She was born in Africa. My grandmother was born in Cairo. And my grandfather comes from the north of Italy. There's a story about that. And my other side, my dad's side of the family, he was a very famous chef, trained in London. And then after the Second World War, they came to Australia, and he was a very famous chef. And they're also vegetarians as well.
Yep.
So, but I'd always grown up with really good food. I didn't know what processed food was. There was always beautiful food and very European style food. And I'd go to mates' houses and then have lamb chops under the griller. With it was just I just didn't get that sort of thing. And I'd never eaten a friggin' meat pie. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I just always had good food around me. And look, and when I was 16, I was going to a private school, Essendon Grammar, on the other side of town. And when I was 16, about the first couple of months through year 11, I was never that good at school. I was put up a year, so I always struggled. Sat down in the principal's office, and my services were no longer required. So I'd always shown an interest in flying because my dad was an airline pilot for Ansett, and so I went and did my flying lessons. So at 16, I was flying solo. And I had to, Dad sat me down and said, if you want to be a pilot, you've got to start paying for your lessons. He was paying for a few of them. So I got a job in a kitchen. And the intention was to work the rest of that year, the rest of that year 11 year that I should have been doing year 11, work in a kitchen to pay for my flying lessons. And then I was going to go back to school and repeat year 11 and be in the year I was supposed to be. So I got a job in a kitchen in a little restaurant, and I loved it. And I went back to school, finished my year 11 and 12. And then at the end of, I think I finished my politics exam on the Friday and started my apprenticeship on that Friday evening. And off I went from there. But I belong in kitchens. I love the order, discipline, the society of kitchens. I love everything about food. I get up in the morning, and for me, it's like, what am I going to eat?
Yeah.
It's other people think different things, but for me, I just love everything about food. And it's in my brain. It's all about food. People. What do I do when I'm at home? I cook. I've got a decent sized kitchen, and I've got 3 sons, and they eat like friggin' horses. And their friends come over, and I just love a pour a glass
their friends
of wine.
would love that.
It'd be good to be one of their mates.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when they were young, my kids were like shitheads, that was like, oh, Dad's cooking, Dad, it's like, we hate what Dad's eating, and it's disgusting, when they were little. And it's like, do you know who I am? do you know what I get paid to cook for people? And it was just... And
people would die to eat what you're eating.
They want meat pies and sausage rolls, do they?
Yeah. And then as they got older, they started to sort of relax. And now my eldest, he's 21, and he's got a little WhatsApp group, and it's what Dad's cooked, so he sends a photo to all his mates of what I've cooked for him for dinner, or lunch. So they're starting to enjoy it now.
You save some money on dates as well. They don't have to go to fancy restaurants. Just come over.
Well, they bring their girlfriends to my bloody places and eat for free.
Tight
the bastards.
asses.
Yeah.
You talked about how you grew up with good food. Is it expensive to eat well and eat good food?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think, everything's expensive now. But look, if you're buying primal cuts, if you're eating eye fillet, it's going to be expensive, especially if you're buying it from a butcher shop. I mean, for the last 30-something years, I buy everything wholesale. So, I'll just go to the restaurant and just take whatever I want.
Yeah.
I get it for free almost,
Yeah.
So, but look, if you learn how to cook and learn some simple dishes, and I would say to young lads like yourself, learn to cook 5 dishes. Learn to cook 5 dishes really well and practice them. And the more you practice something, the better you get at it. So when you have boyfriend, girlfriend, or both come home, you've got something to actually cook for them, and I think it's a really nice way to do it. It's a language of love, I suppose. And if you learn how to cook, you can look after yourself, and it's a nice thing to do.
Well, on that though, if you let's say 5 dishes, what would be off the top of your head? What are like a good range?
Looking at us, we
want a nice range of dishes.
yeah.
What would we look at?
I'm looking at you two guys, meat and 3 veg.
Yeah.
But look, if you can learn how to cook a steak.
Okay, steak's one.
Yeah, nice, and if you were, if you had a mate coming around and, you'd have a nice big fat juicy T-bone, I'd get like a, 800 gram T-bone, like a nice big one, and I'd learn how to grill that. And then let it rest, and then carve it with some, some potatoes, mashed potato or something creamy, buttery mash.
Yeah, beauty.
Some minted peas with some thyme in it, that sort of thing. That'd be one thing. So if you can learn a steak, that ticks you off as
that goes into the repertoire. Yep.
You need to be able to roast something. And look, I would say, you're going to pot roast like a lamb shoulder. So you cook it for 2 or 3 hours till it's nice and tender and falls apart. Anyone can cook that, and there you go. You got nice and tender all the time. Something like a pasta dish, whether it's a bolognese. Everyone loves a bolognese,
True.
And if you can make a lovely bolognese, and even with some grated carrot in there to sweeten it up a little bit, and cook the sauce till it's all the way through, and you always double or triple it, so you can put some in the freezer.
Yep.
But also cooking the pasta and getting that right. There's a little thing on the packet which has the time. It's a cottura in Italian, so it always says 9 minutes. So a little tip for me would be to cook it, if it says 9 minutes, set your timer for 7, check it, it's a little bit al dente, take it off at 8, put it, drain the water, back in the pot, some butter, some salt and pepper, some parsley in it, and then put the sauce in it, and it soaks up. So there's a little tip for you. And then what else? Maybe a piece of fish, maybe some steamed mussels. Nice and fresh with some crusty garlicky bread, and then off you go.
We love a bit of salmon. That's one of our favourites.
Salmon's an easy one, but if you're going to cook salmon, crisping up the skin.
Yeah.
Get a nice big piece of fillet, crisp up the skin, or maybe, to be able to cook a whole fillet in the oven with a little bit of tahini on it and some parsley, some lemon on there, and serve that for a group of people. So if you can learn how to cook something for yourselves or 2 of you, and to be able to cook something for maybe 6 people, which is like the lamb shoulder and a couple of veggies, it's easy. Yeah.
Well, I'm also thinking okay, I'm impatient in the kitchen. That's my problem. So work all day.
One of your problems, yeah.
One of my many problems. Yeah, thanks for clearing that up. You are right. What are the things we always need in our pantries at all times, and what's a good dish you can cook up that's not horrible for you, in 10, 15, 20 minutes, just nice and easy, switch your brain off.
Look, I'm thinking, 2 young blokes and pasta, you probably do a bit of exercise and stuff. Look, I would say a pasta dish would be my go-to. Quick and easy to do. Most people have got about 20 minutes to cook.
Okay.
So you want to have a good dish like that.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not long, but you can do some great things. By the time you got a pot of water on, it takes about 8 to 10 minutes, whether you've got induction or gas. So 8 to 10 minutes to get the pot of water to the boil. And in that time, if you've got some, an onion, some garlic, a little bit of olive oil, some butter, you've got some zucchini and capsicum in the fridge, maybe some chicken breast, chop it up nice and small, nice little dice, we call that brunoise. Sweat that off in a pan. Your pasta's in the water. You've grated some Parmesan cheese. You've chopped up some parsley from the garden. Out comes the pasta into the sauce. Mix it around. Grated Parmesan over the top. You've got some veggies. You've got some pasta, a bit of meat in there, and you've cleaned out the fridge as well. Nice, simple dish to put together. Of course, when I cut it the shape's nice, and so it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, put some peas in there as well. That could be great. That's a nice, simple dish. And then you get on with, editing the podcast or whatever you do.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, here's in this episode with Richo, a cracker.
The Richo, man.
Adrian Richardson, what a ripper. But we need to interrupt because we're going to say a big thank you to our partner, Fleet Plan Hire Solutions.
Adrian cooks up a storm in the kitchen, but I tell you who cooks up a storm on the roads, the
like
bridges,
that.
the tunnels, everywhere in Victoria. It's Fleet Plan Hire Solutions. Actually, probably Australia.
I know. Head to fbh.com.au to find out more. Or even then, even you just listening to that, like so many people probably buy so much food and then it goes to waste because maybe they don't know necessarily what to use, like vegetables wise, like veggies sitting in the fridge. I know sometimes I'm guilty of that.
Yep.
One thing it just came to mind that I wanted to ask, and you mentioned convenience, is today's day and age, all these different delivery businesses like HelloFresh and Dinnerly and all these different companies, being someone who loves to cook and create and making food it's more than just eating. Do you like the idea of these convenience options for people, or do you think that's something that's missing for a lot of people?
Oh, look, who am I to judge? You know, and I see people. I've got a friend of mine. She's a lawyer. She works from home. She's always really busy doing stuff, and she wants to keep an eye on her weight. So she buys. I think it's one of those HelloFresh or something. Meals already done, and off she goes. I get that, you know. And then she goes out to a restaurant and does stuff. For me, if it's not something you do, if you're not great at it, and it's just like you just want to eat quickly, they're great. You know, all these delivery stuff, all great. But for me, why would you give someone else the pleasure of doing it?
Yeah.
I love it. I love cooking. And look, if we were doing this podcast at my place, I'd actually be cooking something. You put a little lapel mic.
Should have done that.
We're definitely doing another episode.
Well, maybe that's my podcast. Is I'm cooking for
Yeah.
you guys, interview you guys. But maybe that could be something. For me, that's a beautiful thing. And I think going back to your point, but it's like you guys don't cook a lot, and something you get a bit scared, so you just stick to simple things, and it's easy to do stuff. It's so freaking easy. I can teach you guys to cook stuff really quickly, and that's what I do. I love teaching people, and that's why it's a big part of my business. And being a tradesman, being a chef, is my job is to pass on the skills, and that's why the TV, those sorts of those mediums work so well, and because I'm able to show you tips and tricks on how to make things easier and how to make things better. And you know, we'll open up your fridge and pull stuff out. And we've got nothing in here. Hang on a second. We're going to make a beautiful minestrone here. I've got some silver beet as well, or you guys probably don't have silver beet.
Yeah, I used to love silver beet as a kid.
Yeah, it's great. You know, and the stem, most people chuck out the stem. You know, I cook that. I use it like celery. Put that in. We'll go into your pantry and find a tin of chickpeas. You know, we'll put the liquid in there as well. You know, we'll find some tomato and maybe you got some curry powder. Let's make a curry minestrone. Fuck it, let's just do it.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Yeah.
Do you have any? So I love that analogy, by the way, and it's awesome. Do you have any times across your life where you've accidentally found like the perfect recipe by using something at the back of a pantry, and you've used it from then on in? Is it an example of that?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. Look. I did some work for a company, and I had to do. I think 1,000 portions, tasting portions of something, and I had to make it's like a rib dish, and so I made a picante sauce, which is picante is like a hot chili sauce, and I mixed and matched stuff, and I wish I had written the bloody. I can remember mostly what's in it, so I've got to make it again, but it's bloody beautiful. I had some picante sauce, some roasted red peppers, some garlic, coriander, red wine vinegar, a great vinegar to have around. And we'll go back to the essential things to have in a kitchen later on. You'll ask me that again.
Yeah.
I sort of skirted around that. But there was peppers. I had some tomato in there, a little bit of sugar, some salt. It was really, really good. And I had a couple of different types of chili sauce that I used. But I should have bring that along as well. But it was really nice hot
You're
sauce.
actually inspiring me here,
Me
Adrian.
too. My girlfriend will be listening to this and be wrapped.
Yeah.
Because this is a constant, it is a bit of a disagreement in our household, which is I've always looked at food and making food as, well, one, a bit of a chore, but two, I've always done it in a really regimented way.
Regimented. Yeah.
Yep.
As in being a 18-year-old wanting to get muscly, I'm just going to meal prep and I'm just going to make all my whatever, it's my dinners for the week, and it's all there, and it's just
Your chicken and rice.
yeah, chicken and rice or my meat and veg or whatever.
Yeah.
So the way I love to shop is I just go in with my list and I buy everything for the meals. Whereas my partner Garni, she's a really good cook, but she just loves to make stuff on the fly.
Yep.
But I'm the opposite. I'm like, no, we need to plan it for the week, you know?
Yeah, there's two types of people. You're one and she's the other.
Yeah.
There's people that have to follow the recipe and
I'm that.
they'll see the recipe, there's no celery. I can't make that recipe. Well, go get some silver peach stem or just take a celery out. If it's, and your mind just pops. We don't have any curry powder. Well, maybe there's some curry paste. So if you can freeball it and think on the fly, and that's the thing when you've been doing it for a long time, you can just mix and match. And I can write a recipe and I can taste it at the same time. I can go through your pantry and your fridge, and I could assemble the ingredients and get 12 different dishes, out of what you've got in your pantry and your fridge, and show you how to make them. Yeah. It just comes naturally to my head. That's the way it works.
So I've got a weird question here. Something I've always struggled with is any kind of heat in food. Spice. Yep. I'm rubbish, right? So to give the listeners and the viewers a bit of an idea, when I go to, say, a Nando's that most people probably eaten at, I have to go, what is it? Lemon and herb. Like mild's too hot, right?
Yep.
So I don't understand when people throw spice into things and they love it and they say taste. For me, I'm like, it's hot. Like, I don't get the appeal here. Why am I sweating? How do I develop my palate so I actually like spice? So is there a way to actually develop it for me so I can actually start appreciating it and enjoying it? Or is it just a lost cause?
Well, you don't like spice, so why doing it? I mean, it's
and you know what? I'm so glad you said that. So, Mum,
I don't
if
like
you're
punching
listening,
holes in my hand, so why would I want to keep doing it?
Yeah.
With the spice, you either love it or you don't. I mean, if it's something that's uncomfortable to you, then what I would do with chili and spice. A lot of people just like the heat. They like the burning, on both ends. 3-4 days later, they're still, they can't sit down. There's that side of it. Or with chilies, there are so many different types of chilies, and the Scoville is how we measure the heat in chili, the Scoville amount. You've got the Scotch bonnets up here that are going to rip your ring hole. They'll be like that by the end of the week. Then there's the long red chilies. You'll see them long red ones and long green ones. That have flavour. The jalapeno chili, a little bit of heat to them, but they have flavour.
Yes.
And to me, if you're going to use chili, you're using the chili for a reason, for flavour, and to enhance what you're actually cooking. A lot of people when they're cooking will just load it up with chili because they think that's making it nice. No, it's about layering up the flavours. And if chili's not your thing, then don't do it. What I would recommend if you want to start trying chili is maybe you can get 1 or 2 different types of chili. Make a tomato salsa, chopped up tomato, some onion, a little bit of lemon juice and some olive oil. And mix a teaspoon of each chili into it and mix it around. Have a little taste of it then. And then you get the flavour of it without too much heat. Have a cucumber there to snap on because if it gets hot. Yeah. But if it's not your thing, don't really
push it.
No, it's not really your thing. And look, I grew up, my father was in the Air Force. So when I was a kid, we grew up in Malaysia. And so I can eat really hot chilies. Now, that kills me.
Really?
I just sweat. When we're doing chilies on TV, I have to go get more makeup on. I just sweat now, and it hurts. And I'm really careful about the chili I use. I mean, the little Thai scuds, I'm not really interested. But a nice, flavoured sauce, like a Mexican style, we're using mulatto chilies and different types of smoked chilies. Very nice and flavoursome. A nice little bit of heat, and that's where you're going for. So those Mexican-style chilies are really good. Yep. The hot, Thai, Indian chilies, the little scuds and stuff. No, man.
Forget it.
Save it for them. Yeah.
I'm the same. I mean, the other night I found myself struggling through a sweet chili chicken wrap because of the sauce. But still on this point, I don't understand, because it's okay for us not to enjoy chili. I feel like the exact same as you. You go out, it's almost like a competition.
It's pressure. Yeah.
Within friends or family. And it's like, what, you don't eat spice or you don't eat chili? I think Bryce actually gave him a hard time for not having chili on a bar mee.
Yeah, you did actually, yeah.
Well, the chili on the bar mee is a scud. It's a Thai chili. It's bloody hot,
Yeah.
And
there's no way.
If you don't enjoy it, don't do it. It's
What is what is it then? Is it a genuine burn that people like?
I think so. I think it's also the manliness. So I can eat a lot of chili. Yeah, good, go for it.
Good on you.
And if you want a lot of chili, I can load it up. I can give you pain and suffering for years. It's when the young lads or girls start in kitchens and they might be chopping up chilies. You learn this once. When you're chopping chilies, wear some gloves on, or if you are chopping them, don't go to the toilet. You know,
Yeah.
it's you get or touch your eye.
It's
you
a
touch
deep
your
heat
eye,
style,
it just
yeah.
burns,
yeah.
and your genitals. It's that's a very, very painful thing. So you learn that very early.
This is before I forget.
Yeah.
Unless you like that kind of thing, I don't know.
Some people do. Some
Maybe
people do.
instead of eating the chilies,
Yeah.
you could just try putting it on your japsai or something. You know, so maybe that's what you're into. I don't know.
We're talking about off camera before about whipped cream. Actually, no,
We're not going there. But it just came to my mind. Like, what can we do to stop ourselves from crying when we're cutting onions? That's one thing I really struggle with. Is there some type of tip or something?
Yeah, you get someone else to chop the onions.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, the onions have got a sort of gas that comes off them. Open the doors, get a breeze through it. That's the best thing. I mean, look. Yeah, you just
suck it up.
You just harden up. You know, harden up. Another thing is use a sharp knife, and you get the job done quickly.
True.
Learn how to chop onions really quickly, so you can chop through them quickly, and then get them into the pot and cooking. That's what you learn to. But a good sharp knife will do it. I can imagine you guys just.
That's me.
One cut.
Yeah.
I need to learn.
Yeah, you get good at it. Just bang, it's done quickly.
I would love to see you chopping. It'd be unbelievable. Sammy might have a look, see if we can find an example. But on a similar kind of topic, so another one's wine, right? So some people don't appreciate a good wine. Is there a way to ease into appreciating wine and then slowly going, through until you get to being a wine connoisseur?
Oh, look, wine to me is a commodity, something I sell. In the restaurant, we have these big fancy wine lists, everything from, I think we got something in Brisbane for $26,000 for a bottle of wine. Oh, yeah.
By the way, what's your sweet spot? Is it red? Is it white? Is it?
Me, I like a nice glass of Pinot Noir.
Okay.
Victorian Pinot Noir, and I don't need to spend a fortune on it. I like a nice red wine. Often I'll drink wine without food. So I'll finish work late at night. I'll go home. I want a glass or two of wine, maybe a piece of cheese, but I don't want anything, thick and, I don't want anything too heavy. So I just want a nice light glass, and I think a Pinot works for me. During the daytime, summertime, I might have a white wine. I'm not too fussy about wine.
Yep.
But for me, I love wine with food, but I don't get too wanky about it. You know? I mean, if you really want to get into wine, there's lots of courses, and wine. I would suggest you go to one of those wine courses where, they've got the 5 different wines in front of you. And you start off with, this is what a white wine is. This is what a Sauvignon Blanc. This is a Chardonnay. This is a Riesling, and off you go from there. And you get to try them, and they talk about the different types, and then you work out what you like and what you don't like, and then what your budget is. If you're going around to your mate's place, you're only going to spend $19 a bottle.
Yeah, it's an Aldi job.
Yeah, exactly. if you go around to your father, and you've got a special event you're going to, you're going to take a nicer bottle.
Yeah.
So it just comes down to your budget, and you can get really, wine wankers, I suppose. You can get really worked up about it, and you can go on and on for hours and hours. But it's up to you, And I'm not the person to judge. If that's the wine that you like, great. I'll get a couple more bottles of it, and then along the way, I'll get you to try one of mine. Try this Pinot. What do you think? Oh, that's really nice, And then we start working at it. It's not about anything, but it's what you like and what you enjoy. That's important to me.
What's up here, Sammy? What do you got on there?
What have you found, Sammy?
This is an onion.
Knife, I just run it down the side here.
Yeah, maybe
let's have a look.
He's a good-looking bloke, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
very
he
good.
is.
What show is this, by the way? Where's this taken from?
Good chef, bad
All my
chef.
other fingers tucked right back. The last thing you want to do is cut yourself, believe me. And what I do is very slowly move all my fingers
struggled with
back
onions.
so
Me
that I
too.
make an even slice all the way down. And another tip is I hold it all together and slice it through the middle here very carefully. And that makes sure all the onion pieces will be nice and small. All you need to do is very carefully just run the knife down the outside here. And see, you get these perfect that's really
Oh,
slow.
fine
That's slow.
That's for camera. Yeah.
You're teaching us. That's what it is.
Is that how you chop? Is that how you typically use the same style to chop through other veggies?
No, they're all different.
It's all
ways of doing it.
yeah, okay.
That's the cut onion. Now, one of the things, onions are like one of the. If you read any recipe, it starts with get an onion, peel it, and slice it. So there's slicing it, there's chopping it, lots of different sizes. So depending on the dish you're going to do, you're going to cut it a different way, and so. Yeah, start learning how to cut an onion quickly and efficiently. So is a way to do it. Now, there's one thing that didn't show. The core is at one end, so you're always cutting the part. So an onion sits in it. You got the roots coming out of the bottom. That's where the core is. Now that core holds the whole thing together. So if you cut the other side of the core, the onion holds together. If you turn it around and cut it the other way, it starts to fall apart and gets all messy.
Yeah,
So
okay.
there's a couple of little tricks with it, but once you get the hang of it, then you can just. I've got a little trick where if I'm doing a cooking class and there's people around, I'll cut the onion. So make sure that you keep your eyes on your knife at all times.
While you're looking everywhere.
I'll do that in front of people. You can just see people.
Oh, that creeps me out.
Have you had a couple of accidents with the knife?
Oh man, this hand's been butchered. If I could show you, I've put oyster knives in there, cut nails off. I've got in the tips of my nails. One of the things the first couple of cuts you get is you'll chop the tips off, and if you can catch it just halfway through, you can stick it back on. And it stays on there. Otherwise, you see chefs with bits taken off them. But after a while, you have no feeling in the end. I can stick pins in it. There's another little party joke I could do.
Yeah. Oh no!
But you get really good after a while. You get good at keeping your fingers out of the way. And concentrating a little bit more and using a sharp knife and using really good knives. And these knives, I've got great knives that I've had for years. They're all friends and we look after each other. But, the second you take your eye off the ball and, don't concentrate, they'll have a little nick at you. They'll have a little bite. So, you'll cut a little bit of nail or something. It's just telling you to pay
Never
attention.
be too confident.
Yeah, pay attention, Tiger. Yeah. You're wielding a sharp instrument around.
Yeah.
So,
I want to talk about the celebrity side of what you do shortly, but before we forget, so we were talking about essentials to have in your cupboard or pantry. So now talking more maybe spices or oils. Maybe just give us 5 that are essential to be in every pantry.
Look. I would have extra virgin olive oil. I use that, and I use it for frying as well. But if I'm doing some deep frying or something in a wok, I'll have some vegetable oil.
Yep.
But always extra virgin olive oil, Australian, if you can.
Number 1.
Always butter. Always salt and pepper.
Yep.
And then the spices. I mean, I've got everything. You know what I like? Fresh herbs. If you can have a little fresh herb garden out the back, and you can buy it and replace it from Bunnings or something, some parsley, some basil, spring onions. When you buy your spring onions from a supermarket, cut about that much above the roots, stick them in the and they grow again.
Clever.
And you just keep taking off the green parts.
We've just started his DIY garden.
Yeah, we've got the veggie patch going at the moment and a little herb bit. Yeah,
it's great. And
good fun.
I find that fresh herbs give you that little zing, and use it at the end. When you're just, stirring the last little bit into your pasta, put the fresh herbs in, stir it in, you get that lovely flavour. So they would be the main things I would have. Salt and pepper. And then, if you like a bit of dried chilli, smoked paprika is good. Garam masala, some cumin powder, which you want to toast, or cumin seed.
I do like that, yeah.
Fennel seed is also really good. Fennel seed's good if you're making a bolognese. Put some fennel seeds in at the start, and they're also good for your stomach as well. I'm giving you health advice as well. But they're really nice things to start. But as far as sort of equipment and stuff, I always tell people to get a good heavy chopping board, and put a wet tea towel chucks underneath it so it doesn't slide.
That's a good tip. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of good knives, and buy your knives one at a time. And spend your good money on one knife. Put it in a block, don't put it in the drawer, and never put it in the frickin' dishwasher. Don't put your good cooking knives in the dishwasher. It just kills them,
Right.
It's like putting a Ferrari through a car wash.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you never do that. Well, and then clean it after everyone. And the other thing is learn how to keep them sharp on a steel and a stone. You can get onto YouTube and they'll show you how to do it. It takes a bit of practice, but if you can look after your own knives and keep them sharp, you're just gonna start enjoying it a bit better. And good pots and pans, something like a heavy based, like Le Creuset, that sort of thing. Oh, that's my quiver of knives.
Oh,
wow.
Well, actually,
nice.
I've still got those ones, but those knives there. But I've moved on. I went to Japan last year and I bought a freaking fortune of beautiful Japanese knives, and that's the new set. So I have so many freaking knives.
You wouldn't break into your house, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you have to get past my two ferocious toy poodles that have a scratch at your shoelaces.
What are your thoughts? Because there's so much that goes around about the non-stick pans and how bad they are for you. Do you know much about that? Like around...
Oh man, I don't care.
Yeah, you don't care.
No, I mean,
That
I get given lots of stuff, and I've got a few non-stick pans. I find with the punishment, non-stick pans in a commercial kitchen, they get punished because we use higher heat, and chefs are just diabolical. They kill everything. They destroy everything. So I mean, they'll last 6 to 12 months. A good non-stick pan, but for home they're really good. Especially you like cooking salmon. And a crispy skinned piece of salmon in a non-stick pan is fine. A little tip is you might use some baking paper If you don't have a non-stick pan, if you've got the stainless steel one, put some baking paper down and then a little bit of oil and then cook on the baking paper, and it works the same as a non-stick. But I have cast iron, and if you know how to look after,
we have too.
Yeah, if you know how to look after it and you burn the oil into it, and that'll be non-stick as well. So that's your analog. That's your real non-stick.
They're heavy.
They are.
They're really heavy.
Well, they're really good.
I hate washing them because I'm like, ugh.
I have to go to a chef's hat down the road after this.
You don't wash it. You just wipe it out with a paper towel.
Really?
Yeah, wipe it out with a paper towel. If you've looked after it, is it non-stick? Like you can put it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, just wipe it out with a paper towel. Give it a little coating of some oil. Wipe that into it, and you're good to go again. If you go washing it and scrubbing it and putting it through the dishwasher, you lift off that protective coating, which is that oil coating. So you want to try and keep that on as long as you can. And they get a crust on them, but they work beautifully. Good heavy base, and it conducts the heat really well. So you get it hot, you put something into it, and it stays hot. Instead of a thin pan, you put something into it, and that temperature drops, and it starts to boil and simmer, and it's not what you want.
So one question I had is, throughout your career, especially in the past 5 or 10 years, we've just seen so many diets pop up, fad diets that come in and out. What's your opinion on them in terms of, I'm not asking for health benefits or this, that, or the other, but just how sustainable they are for most people to actually stick to these diets? What are your thoughts on it? Because what I find really refreshing about this chat is we're just talking about good food. We're not going into healthy and not healthy and this and that. So, what's your opinion around it?
For me, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dietitian or a nutritionist. I don't give a fuck. Really, I just if you want to eat that, you eat that. I mean, there's all these paleo and whatever. Man, it's just food is so important. Why would I want to limit what I eat? You know, I have the choice to be able to cook, everything and eat anything. And to me, it's just like, I just walk through a market. It's just like it's like playing heroin to a heroin addict.
Masturbation.
I just get all excited. So I think it's people are trying to look after themselves, but we all know what we should and shouldn't
exactly
eat.
Right.
Eat less fucking crap.
Yeah.
If it comes in a packet with salt and sugar and stuff in it, it's crap. You shouldn't eat it. We should eat lots of vegetables, lots of fruit, lots of meat, and cook at home. If you're cooking at home, you're going to be eating more healthier food. If you're going to eat out in takeaways and restaurants all the time, we just load it up with butter and sugar and salt. We don't care about you. We just want to make it delicious. So if you're eating out all the time and eating fast food and eating takeaways and delivery food, that's where the problem is. And then reduce your portion size. Don't be a guts. You don't have to have seconds, Just reduce your portion size. Well, my weight fluctuates a lot. When I'm filming, I put on 10 kilos. So a little trick that I'd drink a litre of water before I have my dinner.
Yeah.
And then often it's you're dehydrated and we eat too much food and often it's that allows you to put on the weight and the booze. Well, we do love a beer, don't we?
Yeah.
I suppose for me, if you're going towards it, it's just a distraction. I think just eat some better food.
Yep.
Eat some better food and enjoy food. We're in a part of human development where we have an abundance of everything. 200 years ago we were eating gruel and killing something and eating that for the week. We're able to have all these wonderful things. Enjoy it. Look after yourself. Yeah.
Now you've worked in TV, for numerous different programs, but one thing in particular that I've always just been, how does this work? How does it happen? Which is you're cooking something to camera, and it's done, it's finished, and then it comes to say the judging element of people tasting it, or you're tasting it later. How is the food kept warm from in between you cooking it to then the shot later of you eating it?
Look, often, and maybe Good Chef, Bad Chef would be an example. Okay, so often we would shoot a recipe and we do from start to finish. Now, let's say it's something like a quick little stir fry. We would actually, do the quick stir fry, put it all together, assemble it all, and then plate it up. And then we might cut for a minute or so, just tidy up a little bit, and then we go straight into the
straight
tasting.
into it.
Yeah. It's hot. And usually with that show, we would do the whole thing. If it's maybe a lasagna, I usually start earlier, and I work with a food producer, Colin. And so I would make the lasagna. So I'd make a fresh lasagna raw. It would go into the oven, and then we'd just do a switcheroo, and we'd pull out the lasagna that I made before. For me, it's like I made that lasagna. I made 2 of them, but I made that lasagna. You're not going to know it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I just do it that way so it looks the same. And then it will come out, sit on the bench there, and we taste it. So that cuts out the filming time of the couple of hours. But everything I cook, we taste, and it's usually hot. Whereas a show like MasterChef, and MKR. I know the guys in that, and I've been on a couple of episodes of MasterChef. The food there is tasted like an hour later, an hour and a half later.
Oh.
I would hate that.
Yeah.
That would be terrible. And so they have to present it and sort of eat it, but it's stone cold where they're eating it. That would be shit.
Yeah.
That's why they get paid the big bucks. Yeah.
Has there ever been a time on say Good Chef, Bad Chef where something's gone wrong, a wrong ingredient, and you've actually gone to taste test and it's been disgusting, and you've made a mistake and you have to cut the whole day's work and start again?
No, there has been some times where things haven't worked, so we've had to stop and do some other things. Rarely when I'm doing it.
Yeah. I thought that's a dangerous territory to ask something like that. I thought,
Well, sometimes we've mucked things up, like something's like the equipment's failed, so you have to start again. Those things have happened, but I often tell people because I can cook whatever I want on that show, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. But my co-host usually has to do something, with no dairy, no sugar, and they have to make a cookie or a biscuit, and you'll have a taste of it, and it's not that great. I always say to people, if I go for the second bite, it's good. If it's just one little,
there you go.
That's really nice. I could do with a little bit more sugar or some cream, but that's really nice. There we go. Usually knows that, but
That's very funny.
Yeah, even with that, I mean, you can't pick it up. And, that's shit. You can't do that. That's disrespectful to anyone. Even if I came around to your place and you guys cooked with me, if it was shit, I'd still say it's wonderful.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you guys have gone.
We could take a bit of honesty, a bit of.
That's no one ever invites me around to their place.
Oh, gee,
for
that
dinner.
smells good.
Yeah. Because people are always worried about what I might say. But for me, if you've invited me around to your place, you've gone out of your way to cook something. It's not like you've invited a regular person. Is he going to judge me? I really appreciate the fact that you're cooking something for me, and I'll love it. And I'm not going to sit there in your house eating your food and tell you what's fucking wrong with it. It's rude. It's rude.
That is a fair.
Like sometimes you would say, "Hey, Richo, I tried to get a crispy skin on that, but I couldn't get it." And I say, "Oh, give me a look at your fry pan. Oh, show me how you did." And we could do it that way if you wanted to. But I would never, be rude like that. But if you ask me some questions, I might, gently tap around and be constructive about it. But for me, for you to go out of your way to cook for me is something very special, and I take it as a beautiful gift. And so I treat it that way, and that's very important.
So if let's just say that scenario happened and you came over and you said, "Boys, wonderful, it's delightful, but it was actually disgusting." And on the way home, you're
wait, what would you cook for Richo?
Oh God, I'd be nervous. Maybe we try the salmon, but let's just say for whatever reason it just doesn't work, right? And you give us a bit of advice, but you're also very gentle and loving, which is great. But then on the way home, you go, "I'm starving. I need something." Do you have a go-to fast food chain that is just that you don't like? What's your favorite fast food chain that you can just grab something and eat?
Look, I love a pizza.
Okay.
I'm a killer for pizza, and we're talking where we live. It's some great pizzas. But there's also a burger joint up the road, Danny's Burgers, and they have dimmies, steamed dimmies in there. And I'm a sucker for a dim sim. I love it. So it's not uncommon. Probably every 6-8 weeks or so, my boys might be going up there to get get a burger or two, and I'll just bring me a couple of dim sims with soy sauce. I love the bloody thing. So that'd be my go-to.
I'll come round to dimmy, especially being where we record with the South Melbourne dim sims. We quite like them.
Yeah, it's an Australian icon, dim sims. But there's a way of there's a I think they call it moe crayfish, is when you get a dim sim, cut it in half, and cook it on the barbecue.
I've heard of that too.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're a lovely thing.
What's in a dim sim? Because as a kid, I remember everyone just going, there's cat in it. Like, what's in a dim sim?
Okay, very good question, actually. I do a lot of work with meat, and I've been to a lot of abattoirs, and I said to, it was in abattoirs, gruesome places to be.
I can't imagine.
It's like the opposite to a car factory where the parts come in and out comes a car.
Oh, no.
This is like the whole thing goes in and out come all the parts. So it's an incredible
Hello
thing
to all our animal rights listeners and viewers.
And
apparently that's where Henry Ford got his idea for the production line. But I said on a crate over there was all these lamb flaps at the belly parts, pretty fatty, not a lot of meat on it. I said, what's that? I said that goes to Dim Sims. That's where they make them. There's a lot of fat in them, and the guy who owned the place said, mate, if we don't have a lot of fat in them, they'll turn them away. They have to be really fatty, because fat gives you the flavour. But it's basically the fat, a little bit of meat, the lamb fat, the meat, cabbage, white pepper, and a little bit of binder and some other things. That's basically what it is. Cabbage is the bulk of it, and the lamb fat. But they're delicious, aren't they?
Oh, they're great. Have you fried or you're steamed?
Oh, steamed fried. Oh, I'm not too fussy.
Both.
Look, if they're fried and sitting in a Bay Marine, I know they've been there for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
I'll maybe get some chili sauce on it or something, but I'll always go the steamed ones. Yeah.
Is there one food item that you just can't cop? That it's just for whatever reason you just don't like it. You just can't eat it.
Oh, chocos.
What are chocos?
They're this.
They chick. What are they?
They're like a.
I'm thinking of a chicken roll for some reason.
No, I've eaten that. Look, a lot of fast food I don't sort of eat, but look, chocos are this thing. They're an older Australian, like a vegetable, like a celery sort of thing that grow on a vine, and they're around.
Are they in a can?
No.
Can you buy them in a can?
You probably can, but why would you?
I've never heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've come across them years ago, and they used to be pretty popular, in the 70s and 80s, way before you guys were born. But no, just don't eat them. But anything else?
Are you a sweet tooth? Do you like a dessert?
I do love chocolate and desserts.
Yeah, okay.
I'm more a savoury kind of guy, but I love a bit of raspberry jam on toast with lashings of butter. Yeah,
Lashings.
Lashings. You can have butter. Heaps of butter on everything, a little bit of salt on there, throw it on there. So even I can make a toasted sandwich delicious.
I bet.
Yeah.
I'd just love to. I'd love to experience it. Now we want to put you through a little bit of a test, Jared. If you want to go and grab the items now. Oh, that's chocos, is it?
Yeah, that's what they are. They're ugly looking fucking
like
things,
little
aren't
nuts.
they? They look like bloody arseholes at the other end, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Actually, do.
A couple of bum cheeks.
Now, what are we doing? What are we putting Richo through here? We're gonna put a little test.
We were like, it'd be cool to do something that is somewhat of a challenge, or not a challenge, a game of some kind. But we were like, what can we do last minute?
You guys want to play games with me, do you? Yeah. You picked the wrong person, boys.
So we've gone with crisps.
Yep.
Or chips.
Yeah,
Right?
come on, we're in Australia.
Yeah,
Chips,
yeah.
mate.
Yeah, well, I don't want people to think we're doing hot chips.
Yeah, okay,
But how many?
I think we got 4.
How many different brands do we have, Jared? 4.
So these are just plain chips, right? And you might have to give us a brand name, Jared.
Yeah. So.
And
he's got them. He's got them numbered. That's good.
He's got them numbered.
Yep.
So you're going to taste one of each.
Yep.
And we want you to, once Jared gives us the go ahead of what they are,
Beautiful.
we want
Lovely,
you to try
mate.
and go.
Lovely.
What is what?
So what flavour are they, Jared?
Original.
They're all original flavour.
Okay. So just salt in them then, I suppose, yep.
So
we
do you want to give?
Do you want to?
You read out the brands.
Across there, you've got Red Rock, you've got Smith's, you've got Thins, and you've got Kettle.
Oh.
Right.
Well, actually, before you do, what chip do you enjoy?
I don't eat a lot of chips. Mostly, I don't eat many at all. So I'm just sort of picking through them.
We should have went cheeses.
I'm going to say number 2 is Smith's.
Okay.
Number 3, I'm going to go for Kettle. What was the other 2?
Red Rock and Thins.
Number 1, Red Rock, and number 4, I would say, is a Thins. Did I get any of them right?
You have got 2 out of 4 correct.
That's right. That's without even tasting it. There we go.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. So now what number did you just taste there?
1.
1. Okay. So I can say that was one of the ones you got wrong.
Okay. It doesn't help me at all. I will say that they're slightly stale. I'll pick up on that. They're slightly stale. And the other thing that you'll see how they've puffed up.
Yeah.
Like that.
What does that mean?
That's actually, we call that a pomme souffle. So there's a particular knack of slicing them, blanching them, so that they puff up, so you get an air layer in between. So I find that's quite clever the way they've done that. See how I bullshitted
Yeah,
around
you have.
to get that.
You work in TV, don't you?
Yeah. All right. So that's either Red Rock, Kettle, Smith's, or Thins. Do you want to have another guess?
I'll say it's Kettle.
He's on the money.
Well done.
1 from 1.
All right, there we
1
go.
from 1.
Number 2.
Number 2. This is an experiment for us on the dos&d show.
Yeah,
We
it
haven't done
is.
this before.
I'm going to say that's a thins.
Give it a taste.
Give it,
Number 2.
Yeah, give it a taste. Now, you can lock in your answer or you can take
You know
it
what?
back.
Not a lot of flavour with that one. It's a little bit oily.
Thins. He's
Geez,
gone
I
for.
can bullshit, can't I?
You can.
Yeah.
That's a little bit oily. It's not as much. It's got a bit of salt on it actually, and it's really thin. So that's probably the thinnest one. So I'm going to go out and say it's a thins because it is really thin. That's probably.
You got to
just
lock
from
it in?
visual. Yeah, I'll lock that one in.
It's incorrect.
Incorrect.
Ooh.
We won't say which one it is because we've got 2 more to go through. So now up to
Number
number
3.
3.
Number 3.
This
I'm
one-
going to say it's a kettle because it looks pretty. Like
It won't be a
artisan.
kettle because you've already got kettle.
Oh,
That one sounds really crunchy.
That's
actually.
crunchy.
that's really crunchy actually. That's probably my favourite.
Yeah.
I
was
like
looking
the way
forward-
it's says gold on
Can't
the
wait till
outside.
you leave, Adrian. I get the rest.
We've got 4 packets of chips there. Can't wait.
What a good life you lead. Getting excited about chips, yeah? Jeez, you guys live
This
a
is
good
why you're
life.
here, Adrian. Yeah, we didn't want to say it, but
So what are my choices with this one?
it's Red Rock, Smiths, or Thins.
I would say it's a Red Rock.
On the money.
Oh, well
Spot
done.
on.
Yeah.
Spot on. Which only leaves 1 more.
Oh my god, that's
He's loving it.
delicious as shit.
He's
The
enamoured by it.
crunch, the flavour
Yeah,
of
the
that
crunch.
one. Oh my god, that
Big
is
shout out to
fantastic.
Red Rock. Well done,
Yeah.
lads. And playdets.
Right, number 4.
Number 4. So it's between.
Oh, that's a whopper.
That is a Whopper. Between the classic
That's
Aussies.
a big one. I don't mean to brag, but yeah.
Now these have to be
That
probably.
is huge.
These would have to be the longest serving chips in our country, wouldn't they? The last 2, Smiths
Yeah,
and Thins.
yeah.
They would have to be.
These are Smiths, are they?
No, so
No,
Smiths and Thins.
It's
They're
one of
probably
those
the
two.
2 most well-known Aussie chip brands.
So
The
2 and
left.
4 are one of the. Yeah, that's one of those 2. So 2 and 4. Do you have a favourite, by the way, Dos?
I'm a Smiths man.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with Smiths. How's that?
As a 4?
Number 4.
Incorrect. It's
Oh.
Thins. So 2 is a Smiths and 4 is a Thins.
Jeez, not a lot of flavour with that.
It looks, even from here, it's giving me like oily vibes, kind of.
yeah, yeah. It's but I like it. It's
Looks like a Pringle, to be
looks good.
honest.
Jared, is that the most cost-effective one? Was that the cheapest one? Yeah.
Yeah,
And what's Red Rock? I'm guessing is
Red
the top
Rock's
one.
always the higher end. I think these days a bag of chips is nearly like $8.
It's ridiculous.
No, number 1 and 3. Number 3, and then 1 would be my
So Red
Might
Rock wins. Kettle.
Red Rock
Closely
and
followed by
kettle.
Kettle.
Yeah. There we
No.
go. Artisan chips.
Well,
Yeah.
you did very well because I think that'd be very difficult. So congratulations, Adrian. 2 out of 4. I think
That's not bad.
You take that. You take that. Yeah. Now what's the other? Now we're doing also a quick fire, aren't we?
Oh yeah, Sammy organised a bit of a quick fire, which we're excited to do. So, do you want to
got
get?
the-
Oh, I don't know. Do you have the questions?
Yes. So we're in our
We'll get those
group.
up. Jeez, we're playing a few games today. Aren't we? We've got,
And then we still got golf to
We've got
come.
the chip eating,
Adrian.
we've got the quick fire, then we've got the golf box, which I know Adrian's pumped for.
So we'll fire through. I think we've only got 4 questions, but we'll fire through them. So I don't want you to think too hard, Adrian. Just whatever comes to mind.
Don't worry, I won't be thinking too hard. That's right.
So your favourite restaurant in Melbourne that you don't own or have any part of?
Look, I'd probably say Bamboo House if you want some nice Chinese. Go there
Okay.
for some crayfish and duck.
Where's that?
It's in
Suburb.
Chinatown. I'd
Okay.
also say there's a Yonga, which is a Korean barbecue place. I'm going to give you a couple options.
Yeah,
here.
Yeah, I
yes,
like
please.
that.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably one of my favourites. And look, if we were going to sit somewhere Movida at the bar and just have the tapas there, it's fantastic, and a little bit of sherry. So I've given you 3
Beautiful.
go-tos, but there's a few others. Yeah, yep.
Tappers, I love a bit of tappers.
Yeah.
What best budget eats in the city of Melbourne? Like somewhere where you can get something of quality that is of good value.
Look, I'd probably go Happy Friendship Noodles in Preston. Cheap as, it looks a bit sketchy when you go there. It's in like a little arcade thing there. But if you want a really nice bowl of dumplings
Yum.
and noodles, the girls are making the dumplings in the window.
Love dumplings.
I do.
And they're fantastic. And you can buy a couple of frozen bags to take home. I think it's like probably $15 and you can't walk. It's like 20 dumplings or
That
something.
is value.
That
Yeah,
is.
that's where you take the kids if you want to feed them a
Yeah.
cheap
I like
meal.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Where can you find the best steak in Melbourne?
Oh,
That's not mine.
yeah, exactly.
Look, I'd probably go
Well, you
to...
can, by the way, please feel free to shout out yours because, you know, we don't want you to not just shout out your restaurants.
Look, up until about a month ago, La Luna, I thought we had a pretty good. We dry aged our meat for 8 weeks on the bone. Had our own in-house butcher.
Wow.
Yeah, we're really really good. Look, I'd probably go somewhere like St. Elmo.
Okay.
They do a really, really nice steak. They've got some really nice different cuts, picanha and a few other things. And I think they do it. They cook it over the charcoal. It's a busy place. I do know the owner there, known quite well, but I think they've got a really nice product. You're going to spend a little bit.
Yep.
The other thing I'd probably say is Victor Churchill,
Okay.
which is down in Armidale. I would say that they're an outstanding steakhouse. The menu there is very old school, almost like a New York style steakhouse. It's not a big restaurant. It's a butcher shop and a restaurant in the back of it. But look, that would be somewhere if you want to go and have an experience, I would go there as well. Yeah.
And what is your guilty pleasure meal? This is the last question. What's your guilty pleasure? Something that might be a bit naughty. You don't need a lot of takeaway, so I'm assuming it's not a Mac, it's a Big Mac. What's your guilty pleasure?
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
I love ice cream. I could eat ice cream all day, every day. It's one of my favourite things. Whatever flavour, it's just like a tub of ice cream, but you got to let it come up to temperature till the spoon goes through it.
Agree with that.
Yeah, it's got to be like mashed potato, and then eat it. And then the trick is to have a couple of different flavours going at once, so you can put it back in the freezer and go for it. But I've got teenage boys, so you buy it, it goes in there. 4 hours, it's gone. They're like Hoovers. The other thing is popcorn. I can't stop with popcorn.
Me too.
It's addictive.
Yeah, it just keep on going.
Yeah.
It's just like, get another bucket, get another bucket.
Why do you reckon the cinemas have done so well for so long?
I know.
Everyone's just like...
It's so good.
There must be like a drug they put in it.
Yeah.
Or
There
something,
must
you know?
be.
Yeah.
And you always got to buy a drink because it makes you thirsty.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now we'll wrap up shortly, and we've got to obviously go to Golf Box, which I'm looking forward to seeing how
too.
Adrian goes on the putting green. But
I'm a real sportsman. Yeah.
I won't name names, but there's a lot of, especially in Melbourne, there's some very high-end restaurants that people like to quote, and they're very, very expensive. What are your thoughts on those really high-end restaurants? Do you think the quality is actually there for what you pay, or is it the experience you're paying for?
Look, it's a whole lot of things. And nowadays, and this is the thing that blows me away, it's the fucking TikTok ability of it.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, it's people taking photos of everything. Fuck me, put your phone away. That's one of my pet hates. Is like when you're there, if I'm there with you guys, we put the phone away. Unless it's like lunchtime, we might have some business stuff going on and excuse me a sec, I've just got to pop outside. But you know, I don't go flicking through your phone. I see it all the time, people sitting there with their phones. And I think, you know, they've seen it on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and that's why they're going there. For me, you know, good restaurant is somewhere where you sit down, relax and enjoy it, and the whole package comes together.
Yep.
The food is good, the beverage is good, the service, everything is wonderful. To me, there's a place for that. The other thing is there's a lot of places that are just shit, and they've got all this notoriety, and I've been there. I know restaurants, it's my game. And you go in there, it's like, it's just you're just getting shafted, and you feel it. So
Agree. Like, I hate, that's one thing, when you feel like you're under pressure to eat and get out because they want to get the next table.
Well,
and I understand there's obviously a balance between the business and the experience.
Well, the double sitting, and that's something that usually you're warned beforehand, and you agreed to it beforehand, and that's okay if you've got, and they're good if you've got a show in the evening.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to be out the door, so it works both ways. But yeah, if if you're feeling like that, you know, you're paying $150, $200 a head, and you've sat down, and it's like, you got to keep moving out. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know, at least if you're gonna hit me for that sort of coin, give me an experience. I've brought my partner in. I want to have a lovely night. I don't want to be pushed out the door. So I see both sides of it. And for you, you know, $200, you know, $400 for a dinner, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You want to feel like I've had a wonderful experience. And it's not just about the food and the service, it's about the evening. It's the entertainment of the whole place. It's and if you're able to deliver that, when you walk out the door, it's like, oh, geez, that was $400. But you know what? That was really good. They looked after me. You know, I'll come back here again.
Yep.
And that's what restaurants are about.
Absolutely.
You know, if you feel like you've just been shafted and your wallet's empty, you're not going to go back there, are you?
It's interesting hearing your take on the TikTok aspect of food or restaurants in today's day and age, because I'm one of those people, if it's been on TikTok, I don't want to go because it's so packed. Like, or the lines at the door. Like there's like a deli in Richmond, or, you know, a certain place here, and when I used to live there, and you're walking down Swan Street, and I'm going, I just don't understand the hype. Like, and it doesn't interest me because everyone else is interested in it.
Well,
you know,
when you see through it, it's just advertising.
Yeah.
It's marketing.
We used to see advertising in newspapers and then advertising on TV and radio. Now the advertising is in TikTok.
Yeah.
And it's people think, oh wow, it's on TikTok, must be good. It's freaking advertising.
Yeah.
And that's what it's now. It is really nice if something's really good, and I'll post it. I went to a really nice restaurant. This is a great dish that I had. I do take photos of dishes. It's just how I work. And I'll say, hey, this is a really good place to go to. If it's coming from me, I'm not advertising for them, but I'm telling you, my friends, this is a really nice place to go. Support them. But a lot of that stuff is just advertising, paid advertising. And it's just whatever.
So when you were getting your businesses off the ground back before you probably had a name that people would go to a restaurant because it's owned by you, how did you market back then? Is it just purely it speaks for itself, the experience and the food?
We have this thing called word of mouth.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah,
but for me, there's a whole lot of ways of advertising, and it's being on TV helps a lot, and being on the radio in the media. But for me, if you come to the restaurant and seeing me on TV, we'll go to Adrian's restaurant. That'll get you in the door, but I don't make a living out of one visit.
Yes.
If you keep coming back and you tell your friends about my venue, that's how I make a living, because we just get busier and busier. And the only way to do that is to deliver a quality product, deliver good service, so that when you walk out of there, it's like, oh, that was great. I really want to go back there. It's not, it was a celebrity chef's restaurant, that's why I went there, and it was okay. I'm never going to see you again. And this country is littered with restaurants that have been owned by celebrity chefs that have lasted months, 6 months, and they're gone. And like you said at the start, it's a great way to waste money. I said, buy yourself a racing car, get yourself a yacht. If you want to spend money on a restaurant just because you love the industry, don't do it, because it is a money pit. But it's if you've got to deliver, and it doesn't matter who you are, what you are, how much money is spent on the place, unless you're delivering quality and value for money, people won't come back and you won't last long.
What is probably the strangest thing that people won't understand that is the most costly part of running restaurants, and not staff or wages? What is something that people wouldn't even think that goes on inside the restaurant that you have to spend money on?
Oh, everything. I mean, if you want to itemise, from top to bottom, labour's the most expensive. Your food costs, and then cost of goods, your purchases, rent. If you're in a really good location in the city, you're paying a fortune in rent. There's some things: insurance, work cover, payroll tax, company tax. The GC. You look at a dish, it's $20. Oh, geez, they're charging $20 for that. No, I'm charging $17.50, or $17.80, whatever it is. That other 10% goes to the government. You know? So we're collecting tax for it. So there's a whole lot of things in restaurants. In the industry average is a profit margin of 2 to 3%. So every $100 that you spend, if I'm doing my job properly, maybe $2 to $3 of that goes into my net profit.
Wow.
That's what the margins are. Now, and that's the same with most restaurants. I mean, if you're fast food, it might be a little bit less or a little bit more.
Would cafes with coffee be similar?
Yeah. Most of those small cafes and small venues you see, they're working for a wage. They're not making a lot of money. Let me tell you that. There's not a lot of money in this business. 20 years ago, it was, there was less competition and there was a little bit more money around. But geez, you got to work for it. No one's going to give you anything in this business. And even a restaurant might be really, you go there on a Saturday night, they're packed, they might be making a lot of money. But you go there on Tuesday, Wednesday, and there's crickets. There's no one there. You don't everyone's going to be busy on Saturday night. That's a given, and then I'll just pay your bills just. But if you can be busy Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, well, then you're going to make some money. You'll go to a cafe at lunchtime and, they're busy, but, they're only busy for that hour.
Yeah.
And they're paying for everything else around it. So very expensive businesses to run. And nowadays, and you're seeing... I call it Armageddon. You see restaurants closing down all over the place. And like you said, up the road here, there's everyone closing down. It is really tough and expensive to operate. You're paying probably 30% more for labour in the last few years. And I reckon you're getting about 20% less productivity out of that labour. It's tough to run, and you got to be really smart to be able to operate and stay in business now. And you got to work hard, and you got to be smart, and you got to pivot. You used to look at our numbers every month. 10, 15 years ago. Now you're looking at your numbers every day and every week. And you've got to be freaking careful with everything, I love it, but it is a lot harder.
Well, plus it's harder for the average family to go out and spend like now. Like it's I heard like even just to go to the football, like it's cost of living it's tough for people. It's a real thing. So yeah.
Yeah, sometimes dining out might have been a weekly, expense or put in the budget for some families. Now it's monthly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is tough. I'm fighting for your dollar. So I've got to give you something that makes you want to come to me rather than someone else. Probably 6 months ago, there was that talk about cost of living, restaurants are expensive, and there were, a few restaurateurs or chefs saying, bitching and moaning and saying, look, I'll get into trouble for that, actually. We should be charging $60, $70 for a main course plate now. And I sort of thought about it. It's like, no. So I set up Pasta Bambino, which is a Bouvier in Lygon Street, and we set up Pasta Bambino, and we were charging $18 to $22 for a bowl of pasta, $9 for a glass of wine, and I said, fuck it. I'm not going to start pitching for the high.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you that you can actually make $1 by giving people value for money. Rammed, packed, people coming from all over the place. And it was just a pop-up that we did, but it was to show myself and my small group of friends that, you can actually, if you think about it and pivot, give the punters what they can afford. Make it easy for them. They'll support you when times are good and they'll pay that, $50 for a main course. But when things tighten up a little bit, show a bit of love. Give them something back and give them a cheaper option so they can go for a bowl of pasta. They can go twice a week or every week and it doesn't hurt you.
I love hearing that. Yeah. It's a really good perspective. Well, we probably do have to wrap up because we've got some sponsored segments to go. I've got one more question, one word answer. What's the second best city in the world behind Melbourne for food that you've experienced?
Brisbane.
Yeah,
at the in Australia?
No, worldwide.
Brisbane. I would say New York City.
Okay.
New York.
Yeah, New York City, centre of the universe.
There you go. Love it. Well, what are we sending Adrian home with? Because we've got, courtesy of our unbelievable partners and friends.
Well, our good friends at Fleet Plan Hire, they're sending Adrian home with a little goodie box of golf accessories. So you're looking at a golf towel, golf glove, some socks, some balls, some tees. Adrian's told us he loves golf, so I know he's going to love that.
Big golf fan. Yeah,
and then we're going to head over to the golf box activation, take him through a little putting challenge, see how he goes. And what does he get there?
Well, he's going to go home with some tailor-made golf balls and actually, they've sent us some dos&d poker chips, would you believe? So you're going to go home with some golf box / dos&d poker chips.
I don't know if you play poker,
but I don't know what you'll do with them, but you might enjoy them. But they're very generous. But you will be playing for a charity of your choice. There's $1,000 on the line. Okay. Can't be the Adrian Richardson Foundation, unfortunately. But we will go over to activation. Make sure if you are listening to head over to YouTube to watch this because we're actually changing it up a little bit today. We're going to throw some curly questions at Adrian while he putts. But Adrian, thank you so much for joining us. I've really enjoyed this chat.
Too.
And your generosity is unbelievable just with the advice you've given. And thank you for sharing your story. How do we find you online or on the radio or on TV?
I think if you tune into 3RW on Saturdays or 4BC in Brisbane, I think just Google Adrian Richardson, it'll pop up somewhere, good looking, tasty, charming.
Google
chef.
tasty.
Yeah, Adrian Richardson, it'll come up somewhere. I'm not hard to find. Yeah.
Beautiful. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Well, it's that time. Once again, we've got a guest jumping into the golf box putting challenge. Adrian Richardson, how are you feeling about the putting challenge?
I'm pumped. I'm so excited. I just can't wait to get going.
I love that.
Are you a golfer? Do you have any experience?
I've played a bit of golf. I'm not fantastic at it. I'll probably spend more time hooning around in the golf buggy. Give me a golf buggy and I'm there.
Any mini golf, in the past?
Oh, yeah, three boys. Surely a bit of mini golf.
I've played a truckload of mini golf.
This should be right up your alley.
Yeah. This is ready to go. There's no hole though. It's just like a dot.
Yeah. So how this is going to work? It's all point system. Now you are playing for charity. We'll talk about that in a second. But what you're going to do is putt 6 balls. You're going to putt 3 at a time. Then we're going to throw a curly question at you, and then the final 3. Now the goal is to land flush in this bullseye.
Yep.
That is 50 points. And if we work backwards, it's 25 in this circle, 20, 15. This largest square is 10, and then it's 5, 3, 1. Anything off the mat is 0. But here's the kicker. Now if you can land it flush on that dot, like absolutely flush, it's 100 points. And I reckon if you land it flush, you'll probably head towards the top of the golf box leaderboard.
Okay.
So it might be something you want to risk later on, or you may go for it early, but we'll leave that up to you now.
When you're thinking of the leaderboard, what's the charity that you have in mind that you're playing for today?
Look, I've done a lot of work with Variety. I think it's a great charity. They do so many amazing things, so that's my charity of choice.
Beautiful. Love that.
Yep.
Beautiful. All right.
Did you say I'm beautiful or? Did
Oh, that,
Oh,
well,
well,
that too.
it
Yeah.
just-
I
slips
did
off the
dress
tongue.
up for you guys.
Well, you look very good. Now, we'll get you over there and we'll
Okay.
begin
go.
this. We're going to
All
putt 3 at a time.
Starting off on this dot here.
Starting off
Yep.
anywhere in that black zone.
All right,
you're
okay, no
ready
worries.
to go.
How do you reckon he's going to go, D?
I actually reckon he's quietly confident.
Me too. No, well, I think those that don't play golf.
Are they trying to
tend
razz me by making all this noise? I've got to concentrate here, guys. There we go.
All right, $1,000,
All right.
charity of your choice, courtesy of Golf Box. Here we go. Adrian Richardson, Pat 1 is gone for it, and that's 5 points.
5?
Okay, 5. There we go. Just getting a few.
Clubhouse leader's about 160 at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. I think there's a bit of a slope on there. Just working on that one
just
there.
work
Here we
that
go.
one out. Here we
All
go.
right, here we go.
He's gone the. Oh, I wonder if that dot's worth anything.
It's
there.
not.
There we go.
That's 3. So you're
That's
on
3.
8, Adrian.
Bit more
Bit more
oomph,
Bit more juice.
Yeah.
Bit more
oomph.
juice.
There you go.
That's looking
That's
good.
really nice.
There
Oh,
we
I
go.
reckon. Oh, that's 15.
That's a line. We call that a
15.
liner. That's a liner.
That's a
I'll
liner.
get another shot. Yeah.
That's 23 now. But Sammy, bring
Yeah,
over
bring
the
over the golf box.
All right. Here
Now,
we
why are
go.
we doing this, Dos? Because we had this old segment. And
The old golf box segment basically was what's in the golf box. Pull out a curly question. Well, we thought why not incorporate that with the new segment. So, Adrian, put your hand in there and pull out one of the questions.
Ah, jeez.
Watch out for the spider.
Okay.
All right.
That's yours. There we go.
Beautiful. I'll read it out. So the question is, what's the worst excuse you've used to get out of something?
now that's perfect.
That's a good one.
for your industry.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll tell you. It's a good story with this one. I employed a guy, and he said I can't work for a week because my mother's died. So okay, no worries. So we gave him the week off.
Condolences.
And then 6 months later, he sat me down and said, "I have to tell you a story, Adrian. My mother's not dead. She's coming in next week." So
Oh, no.
So he had to confess. So that's probably the best.
Did he
I've
keep
done
his
so far.
job? Oh.
Yeah, he was a good guy. He had to come clean with it. But I actually got some other dirt on that guy anyway. But
Oh, wow, wait.
my mother died. Why would you tell anyone your mother's
No.
died? What a horrible thing to do.
Surely there's better excuses. All right, 3 more to go. Let's
23,
finish
you're on.
strong.
23. We
we
need
go.
some big points now. Here we go. Punt number 4. That's I think it's too much.
Too much.
Jeez.
23, 2 to go.
That's the stakes, you know,
Josh,
too much
do you reckon
power.
he has
Can you feel a draft in here? There's a
Yeah,
bit of
I
wind
can
going.
actually.
I don't know.
Now,
There we
Dos,
go.
do you reckon he has to
Here we
go
go.
for it now?
I think you got to go for the dot.
You have
Okay,
to
go
I
for
reckon
the
we
dot.
go for it.
There we go.
Let's
Nothing
go to
to
100
lose.
points.
Here we go. It's straight.
6, it's not bad.
Oh,
It's pretty close.
Yeah, that
Must be
is.
a point in there somewhere, doesn't it?
28.
All right, 28. Here we go. That's a good score. Do we have maybe, it's like darts, the lower the score, the better?
It's
Is
probably
it?
not a
Yeah.
bad
Yeah,
concept.
but we don't tell the guests that before they start.
Here we go.
All right, last one.
28. On
Go
its
on,
way. It's going to come back.
Oh,
No,
I thought it was going to
not
drop back down. So 28 points.
That was really good, wasn't it?
Where does Adrian sit on the leaderboard?
quite. Somewhere down the bottom. We'll check that. We'll check that. But that's okay. Because
It's this putter. I think. Did you weight this putter? It's just I'm not using. I should have brought my putter along.
Yeah, you should have.
Well, but if you
The
do
spider
want
putter's
if
great,
you do want the
actually.
tailor-made spider putter, you can get that at golfbox.com.au along with the mat, along with the balls and everything else.
Everything else.
Fast and free.
Golfbox.com.au, you'll find it there. Adrian, thank you for playing along. We've loved having you part of the show today. And you know what? We might head into one of the restaurants one night and have a little bite.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good. But thanks for joining in all the fun.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, guys.